welcome to today's first match on Touhou World Cup 2024. For the first match of the day, we have something very cool. I would say extremely cool even. At the very least, fairly cool. In my opinion, probably the coolest match you have. We have, quite literally, because we have Great Fairy Wars, Lunatic scoring. And with me I have two experts of this game. Introduce yourselves.
Hello,
Go ahead,
I'm
Casey.
I've actually never played this game before besides LNNing.
And I'm Turskain, aka Megapulse, aka Aerokurkisu. I've got a lot of names, and I played this game like 7 years ago, so I'm totally an expert. Very up to date on the freshest tech.
Hell yeah. So, what can we expect from this match? We have our two players. I'd say kind of veterans of the TWC. We have that Dagoth. Everyone knows Dagoth here versus gyou. Dagoth, kind of a legend. Doesn't need much introduction, but for those who don't know, just in case, he has Reki and A1 still, right? I haven't checked.
A1 and C2.
Yeah, I hope he does. It would be unfortunate if there was some kind of accident where he didn't.
Right, so he Dagoth has been a legend for quite a while. Has also done quite a lot of work in GFW, I believe. That's what he mainly did, like, beforehand.
Yeah, he used the whole world records with Yomu and Lyrica.
Yep. So that's the player for Team Star. For Team Sunny, we have gyou, or gyou-chan, or quite a lot of other. He has a lot of variations of his name, but he's a scoring enjoyer. He has Panda in every game, so there's that. He also has I don't know if he still has Reki in any routes for this game, but he's played this game for quite a few years in TWC.
Currently has Reki and C1.
Oh yeah.
He almost got the C1 record in a 2022 TWC match with 102.1 million, when the record was 1.2.2.
Right, and interestingly, we've heard rumors, we've heard rumblings, that he's not actually playing C1, the category where he has the world record, today on TWC.
Interesting. Well, we'll just have to find out in 12.5 minutes. In the meantime, though, a little formality. I do believe we have a nice slideshow, and indeed we do. Touhou World Cup 2024, the annual international tournament featuring the Touhou Project shoot-em-ups, also including the side games, apparently, which is actually very welcome. Now, we have 2 or 3 contestants. In this case, 2 contestants, because scoring is not very popular, sadly. But we're, in this case, competing in the Lunatic category, which features either no bombs or scoring matches. And if you want finer details that we don't necessarily have time to take up here, go to our website, touhouworldcup.com. So this is the wrong slide, but you know, we have 120 minutes of reset time. We're playing IN today, which means we're gonna see a lot of time collection and lots of good cancels, right? This game has cancels in it. Yeah, you gain the points from canceling, so. Yeah. So right, 70 minutes of reset time today. Players earn TWC score. It's kind of a normalized system because not all shot types, in this case, actually routes are equal. So we try to balance it out such that I don't really know the fine details about how TWC score works, but we try to balance shot types such that a TWC score in one shot is about the same difficulty as one in another shot, even if that other shot may score higher or lower. And this is what they compete for. Alright. Take it away, scoring mechanics.
Up to you, Casey.
Yeah, we can first talk about a little bit about the basics. But first of all, this is the game TWC's themed after this year, so there's going to be a lot of stake on this match. This game is all about freezing bullets that are fired from cute fairies with our favorite ice fairy. So you freeze bullets by having at least 30% ice power and then charging your ice for about half a second. That activates a chunk of ice that can freeze bullets, and any bullets that you freeze can freeze other bullets, causing a chain reaction. Your ice charge percentage also determines how long the freezing effect stays active for. Once bullets are frozen, they can also no longer kill you. The game only has 3 stages, hence. Oh my god, okay. Well, am I good now to explain that?
Alright.
Hey guys, so here's the thing, I'm on Wi-Fi, so I just disconnected for a little bit, but now we're all back. Casey is gonna have to repeat a bit of his explanation, and then we'll pick up right where we left off.
This is why we got all that extra time for introducing this PowerPoint show. It was part of the plan.
Yeah, well, let me just repeat it one more time. So, yeah. Anyway, you release ice by getting at least 30% ice power. Once you freeze bullets, it can all chain reacts. Frozen bullets can no longer kill you. And then once we get to the scoring bits of it, you need to cover as much of the screen as possible, which is expressed by the percentage that you see on the screen. And you especially want to be passing the thresholds of 20, 40, and 60%. That's when you score the most. It is a linear fashion that the score increases, but once you pass those thresholds, the score does go up by higher amounts. And once you get to the 60% freezes, that's where the bombs are being used for, especially. And one other thing also is that grazing bullets actually gives you ice power, so grazing bullets is also going to be a very important part of getting your freezes off, and as many of them as possible. And as for the 60% freezes, that's where the bombs come in, which is the next slide.
There's also, let me speak for a second, you also get shot power from your total freeze percentage over the course of the game. Is that true?
Yeah, you need to pass a certain sum of your ice percentage freezes to basically get through certain shot power thresholds.
Whoa, we're speedrunning through the slides.
Yeah, we haven't actually talked about the bombs yet, so I might want to go back. So yeah, the perfect freeze is a separate percentage which you get by getting certain amounts of sized freezes, and so the 30% freezes are going to be the most important ones because those give you 20% PF, and 100%. PF, by the way, is 1 bomb, but anyway, if you get less than 30% freezes, your PF gain goes down to 10% or lower. And suicides are also going to be important in this, because when you suicide, you get 25% PF. And suicides do actually have another reason. They do have another reason why they are being used, but we will get to that in a moment. But also a pretty important thing here is that fireballs also get frozen by perfect freezes, and since fireballs cover more of the area on screen, that will also give you larger freezes.
You also have full iframes for the duration of your perfect freeze, correct? Even before it actually freezes the bullets.
Yes, so there is basically a charge up for whenever the bomb goes off, and then after like 2 seconds, everything starts to freeze. Yeah, and then we got motivation, that is the lives in the game, also expressed by a percentage. You earn motivation by shooting enemies and also by damaging enemies with your eyes. And an important technique here is sight shooting, which gains you motivation, but it deals less damage. So you actually gain more resources by doing that, but you also you're able to stall bosses for a longer time, which is very important because damage control plays a big part in scoring the game. And then, as you can see, if you're doing full damage to bosses, you also gain more motivation that is proportional to the damage that you do. And suicides are actually being used here to negate most of the ice damage. It is basically being overwritten by the death wave that happens, and that is an important reason why suicides are being used, as the HP of each pattern is limited, so you sometimes need to use suicides to get more out of patterns. And the most important thing here also is that you need to clear with 1000% motivation, as that gives you a clear bonus of 43.1 million.
And from that 43 million, 40 of it comes from the motivation bonus, and 3.1 is the base value, so you do want to be motivated in this game.
Yeah, definitely. These are our graphs. As you can see, A2 is just way up there, gains the most, therefore has the flattest TOC score graph. C2 over there is right behind it. Very interestingly, it has a much steeper graph, but starts out pretty similar. Of course, followed by A1, the B routes, and finally C1. So that's it. That's what we're dealing with here.
Yes, and the graphs are shown. They show the lines that are clearly visible. Those are the routes that are being played by Dagoff and gyou. As you can see, A2 scores a lot more, and the TWC score actually does favor A2, so gyou is actually going to have an advantage during this match.
Yes, technically there is a slightly more generous rubric to A2, but whether that ends up being relevant is another question, as although there technically are points to be gained into the high 120s in this category, it is far from trivial to actually bring them home, so...
Yeah, that tends to be the case. Whenever there's higher potential, it's not always easy to actually realize it. But yeah, I think that's enough of the PowerPoint presentation.
Maybe one extra good point that might be worth mentioning, but the routes do determine the stage order that is being played. And so A2 and C2 actually do not share anything with each other in terms of stage layout and boss fights. Each location in the game is basically its own stage layouts, and both A2 and C2 have completely different stage orders in that regard. And then A2 fights Luna Child first, then Sunny Milk, then Star Sapphire, whereas C2 fights Star first, then Luna, then Sunny. So there's going to be vastly different gameplay that we're going to be seeing from both. both players here. So stage 1 is actually going to be completely different right at the get-go, and the same is true for stage 2 and 3.
It looks like our man gyou is he's hovering over the A route. We might have confirmation as to what he's playing very soon. Which
and we started.
Yep, looks like he's enjoying the A2.
A2 enjoyer. Well, we don't necessarily know yet if he's actually playing A2 or A1. We'll have to wait for stage 2.
Should we introduce our players?
I believe we already did.
Yeah, well, just about the lore of each of the players.
Right.
So yeah, as you can see right here, right at the start of the C route, you can already see the random elements showing themselves. And, you know, what makes the C route so difficult on stage 1.
A route by comparison having fairly consistent first 3 freezes.
Well, fairly consistent until there's a... The positioning of the fairies is not entirely consistent, so if you're trying to get 30% on each of them consistently, there can be a fair few reasons there, unfortunately.
One good thing about the C route, at least with what they got to route, is he's not going to be having very tight PF routing, so he can afford to make some mistakes with his freezes, having them be slightly suboptimal, so...
One thing that we didn't mention on the slides as well is that, because it's not irrelevant, is the spell card bonuses are very small in this game, and usually you don't speed kill anything, you milk anything until nearly timeout and capture it at the very end if you capture it at all.
And some spells are also not being captured.
Right, that is also true.
Sometimes, like, if a spell card has a huge bomb potential, then the bomb itself is worth more than the spell card bonus in its entirety.
Some score bombs being seen on gyou stream right now. This is a good example. Getting these big fat bombs on this pattern that by freezing you could not get anywhere near that size, but spending some of your PF, since it caps out at 300%, is an effective use of it, so you don't keep it maxed and not get anything out of it.
Also seeing some cases of freezing the revenge bullets. Just for
yeah, it's
little...
also interesting stuff. You can also kill fairies, stage fairies, while your freeze is expanding to make the revenge bullets join your eyes, which enables some cool possibilities, which we might see
Very
you could do right now.
There. Very unfortunate death on gyou's side.
Yeah, it was on the final fairy of the stage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning that Lunatic does actually have revenge bullets. The revenge bullets that enemies fire are these like red kunais, and every boss pattern that is being finished will also fire revenge bullets, which are these jelly beans, and those are not quite as useful to Grace. They do tend to get more in the way. But they are very useful for gaining ice percentage back, which does make Lunatic a little bit more lenient, because you can gain ice power very quickly.
Alright, there is also a way of gaining ice power, the ability to freeze, which we didn't mention, which is that if you're holding down the Z button, which shoots and freezes, after a while you start passively charging ice, a sound effect plays a swirl, which indicates that your passive ice regeneration has increased while you're holding down this button, and this is useful in some patterns where you don't have much to grace and you also don't want to be killing stuff. For example, on this very non-spell here that gyou's on, you use the Z hold a lot to get just a bit of extra ice power here, as you don't need to move faster or shoot.
Yeah, on this random enemy section you want to wait with your freeze. And you also don't want to kill the enemies that are shooting the bullets.
いや遅いやらかした
We will be seeing a lot of stage 1 because of how difficult the first stage in this game is, but
遅いから
hopefully they will manage to, at least get out of stage 1.
Gyou get into the second half of stage 1 into the famous fairy grids. These are a almost static section with some pretty cool freezes, I believe. Get into spread this ice nice and wide.
And also immediately getting new freezes with the revenge bullets to, because of the graze. So he's getting his ice power back really quickly. And he's also shooting some of the fairies here, so he can actually get some of the revenge bullets into the freeze.
Exactly.
Meanwhile,
Seems
on
like he has made it
Daryl's
to the
side,
boss.
yeah. Meanwhile, on Daryl's side, we see some.
Resets
We saw
back to
some
Gyou.
nice knife resets.
Well, Gyou is on Luna, so we could probably talk a bit about the boss fight mechanics.
Right. The way this first non-spell works is that first the bullets are released towards you, take a big fat swing towards the player, and you can redirect them to get a nice grace off of them and attempt to make a nice spreading ice. You can see how the trail of yellow clouds is kind of connecting to the ring that she releases, and the ring is being frozen in sort of a crescent shape. The deep law, many freezes on Luna Child, can be kind of vaguely crescent shaped because she is the moon fairy.
He was at least getting some good
Spoilers.
very percents here, so one thing we didn't actually mention, but your perfect freeze is capped at 300%, and you don't generally want to stay at 300% for too long because that would be wasting your resources. And yeah, he's gonna be dumping all of his bombs on this first spell here because of how big the freezes are.
Seems like there was a grazing accident on Gyou's side. He was actually cancelling the bullets he was supposed to graze at the
Second non-spell, because this second non-spell is extremely difficult. And it's also very hard to milk.
boss movement in this game is also random, and how high or how low she decides to go on this non-spell can make a... Oh no! It's a disaster.
Yeah.
Back to
Always
Dago.
hurts to see.
Dago is enjoying the mid-boss in C1, who is a very gnarly customer. But he got past it for now.
And
Now we have these cool cool knife crits, as we call them. These are one of the more interesting sections in the game.
Yeah.
And these knives are also larger bullets, so they also cover more of the stage, or more of the ice area.
Oh, the knife
which is why he
rings.
bombed it.
Knife rings are also incredibly cool. They are aimed towards you, the fairies charge towards you, and their HP is really not high, so you can't shoot them very much to charge your eyes if you want them to actually stay alive.
Yeah, you also don't want to kill them until they actually fire their knife rings, otherwise you lose out on a lot of freeze potential there. And Dagoff is on star now.
Is the stream still... we are experiencing a bit of technical difficulties, but okay, seems like we're seeing action again. They got on the first rings. This ring is just a single ring that's fired and then frozen, so hopefully Dagot can get through this.
Yeah, this first non-spell is not that interesting because it's just a single ring and you just point blank raise the ring. It is probably the simplest pattern to see what's going on.
Grace box in this game is pretty generous as well, so even though you're pretty far away, he's actually grazing every single bullet that spawns from the boss's center from a fair distance.
Okay, now we're gonna get to the more interesting bits, which is his first spell that is very difficult, and we're gonna... He's normally not going to bomb this, but he might bomb it for safety. We'll have to see.
Yeah, this is just... it's random, it's fast, and the scores also have a lot of luck to them whether they will connect horizontally or not. So, you know, not only is it difficult, but it can also give you no points if it decides to be rude.
If he had bombed on that spell, he would have needed to at least be capped on PF on the second spell, because he's going to be dumping 2 bombs on there. and that way he's also not going to be off routes. But I think he's not going to bomb the first spell, given that he
How does this second non-spell that they got is on right now work? I'm not actually super familiar with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you cannot actually damage Star on this non-spell too much, which is why he's doing the freezes more from a distance, but also the rings also don't already connect very well. It's a very placid ring pattern.
He got a small connection there for a bit of motivation.
Yeah, he can now afford to be more aggressive with the damage here. He was just playing a bit safe with the damage, because again, the ice also does damage to bosses, and it does a lot, so you do want to be somewhat diligent with how you damage bosses with your ice. And yeah, as you can see, he is deliberately misdirecting this pattern away from Star, so he's not doing too much damage. He is going to be using a second bomb right at the end of this spell card right here.
Yeah, the boss HP in this game tends to be very limited, where if you're dealing a lot of damage with each of your freezes, you will not be able to milk until timeout.
Yeah,
which
especially
makes
on stage
controlling
1,
damage very
true.
meaningful.
The
I
stage
always
1
found
boss
this.
especially.
I always found this spell to be very cool.
And here comes the bomb right here. And then one final freeze to finish her off. And as you can see, it gives you 60% freezes, so those are definitely worth it. Those give you 360,000 points. And then going from 60 to 100% would go from 360 to 1 million. So
There
your
are
score
also
increases
frozen
a lot.
items in this game where enemies and bosses drop score items, which, if the KO happens with a freeze, they are frozen and auto-collected and give 4 times as many points. You can also POC normal non-frozen items, but that tends to be very negligible or a result of a mistake, since the frozen items are simply worth more.
Yeah, frozen items are worth 4,000 points versus regular point items at 1,000 if they are POC'd.
And there's no score item, there's no PIV in this game, as they say. So they are always the 4,000 for the frozen items.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, the ice coverage is your PIV. That is really where most of your score comes from, besides the clear bonus.
Let's see if Diose will be gentle. What they got.
Well, he's going to be bombing some of it because, yeah, this also gives you big freezes, and this is also where Stage 2 introduces the fireballs. Fireballs cannot be frozen normally, but you can use your perfect freeze to freeze them, and since they cover more area, they will be pretty advantageous to freeze with your bombs. And this is also where the suicides are coming in.
Right, Daigo is spending some of his motivation, so the damage of the death wave cancels the damage of the freeze, and this lets him do an extra freeze here for an extra 20% perfect freeze that he otherwise wouldn't be able to do, since the boss would have died earlier. And then that extra PF lets him ideally use 2 bombs here on this next pattern.
And yeah, also Diose's HP is very fragile, so you can only do a few damaging freezes per non-spell here, so he's probably going to do some defensive freezes here, or non-damaging freezes rather.
He got past the big fairy himself.
And then he's gonna be point-blanking these rings.
This is a really cool stage pattern. You really gotta kinda not take too long going through, so you hit the freeze position in time.
One thing he also just did right there is he shot some enemies, and when you shoot multiple enemies at once, your ice power will actually go up faster. We will also be seeing that on the Free Fairies boss fight. Ooh, that was a very lucky 30%.
Yeah, some of these have a fair amount of luck in them.
That ice didn't connect very well. That was not very good luck. These lines of bullets are pretty luck-based. Yeah, he's kind of messing up here.
Oh no! He didn't have the Z charged up in time exactly.
Yeah, it just barely didn't, but you know, it's gonna be important that he probably does continue, so long as huge disasters are being avoided, so he can actually get a score on the board.
Right, you also see that this Stage 2 Luna first non-spell also lets you do kinda crescent moon-shaped ices. The lore is very consistent in this game.
So Dagoff actually wants to... It is really important here that Dagoff is going to be at max PF for the first spell here. Because it is one of the biggest scoring spells in the entire game. And it's also going to be very important that he doesn't die on it. This is the first spell of this Luna boss fight here is one of the worst places to die in the game.
Right,
So
you need
let's-
all the freezes and all the bombs if you can get them off.
Here we go.
And why dying is bad is that, you know, it cancels all the bullets on the screen, so if the bullets are not there, then they're not being frozen, and you only have so much time to attempt to freeze.
Yeah, and so he is going to be using suicides to milk this pattern for as much as he can. He's going to be dumping all of his bomb resources on here. This spell can give you up to 8 million points, which is a huge amount considering... Oh, yeah. That is really bad. He's probably
Rough
gonna
time.
be...
But he's probably going to continue to run. The resources look good enough for at least finishing a run.
His PF is still 300.
Yeah, it's because of the extra death. But he is going to spend at least one bomb on the second non-spell. I forget if he does a second bomb here. He's at least going to spend one bomb on this next spell too. Yeah, there's the second bomb.
This non-spell is really trippy with the way that these fireball rinse move. Speeding up and slowing down in a kind of a odd pattern.
This non-spell is actually very difficult to get 30% on, but if you can get them, it definitely helps. Okay, it looks like he's not gonna be getting a lot of damage on Luna here, so he might be losing out on some motivation here. And then this spell is being safe spotted, so you can just get grades for free, basically. Like, this spell is pretty easy. Dagoff should not be dying on this spell.
Trying to curse him, eh? Give gyou a helping hand to help him get out of stage 1. Gyou is on the final spell of stage 1 right now. The Lunar
He's about to
Cyclone.
enter stage 2. Let's hope that he does.
There's some interesting movement tech that we might see on this Luna spell here. Where you can kinda move
Which
after
one?
you release the freeze. The Lunar Cyclone that gyou is on, not Dagoff right now. He connected it behind her back right there with some cool moves. Maybe intentional, maybe accidental. I think he's doing it intentionally.
Yeah, the way
Because,
that you move after a freeze is actually really important on this spell, because it gives you vastly different connections if you move in different ways.
Can Dagoff make it through this insane survival spell?
Yeah, this is a spell that you could actually milk, and it is possible to get 30% on it, but both are very difficult, so he's definitely not going to time this down the whole
These
way.
are insane moves, man. Holy. What are we seeing? How is he living through this, man?
EWC Magic, man.
This is insane, man. You could be freezing earlier than he did as well, but he was YOLOing super hard. Very impressive that he only died once, taking such risk.
Okay, he is very behind on resources here. He's actually 4 lives behind right now, so he's probably gonna go for the safer stage 3 pattern for so he can actually finish with 1000% motivation.
Yeah, there's still maybe about a bit over 1000% motivation to be gained in the game for Dagoff. I'm not actually sure how much exactly, but he has enough to finish with maximum motivation and have a few suicides or accidental deaths in stock, since there are a lot of lives in this game if you do scoring patterns.
I don't know if anybody saw if gyou died unintentionally, just earlier. Okay, well that was definitely not intentional.
Yeah,
I don't think you're supposed to die on this non-spell.
Yeah, these are expensive deaths, but the run might be continuable. Might not be if he dies again, but... Oh,
He is going to bomb on it at least. Getting some
he got
juicy
the
connections.
bomb just in the right time. You can also Ice Grace this spell where you're kind of surfing on the edge of your ice upwards towards the bullets and just getting a bit of grace on them right before they get frozen.
Yeah,
which is
that
very
is
cool.
Yeah, that is a technique called ice grazing, where you're basically grazing bullets right before they get frozen. So you're kind of trying to like surf among the edge of the ice, so to speak, as it like expands.
And this mid-boss non-spell is very luck-based, where the damage she takes is considerable if she moves into the ice. And ideally you want her to not move into the ice.
He's also going to be using a bomb here pretty soon, because this gets
Yeah,
a huge amount of ice.
Yeah, looks like gyou is doing a safety pattern where he skipped one of the suicides, perhaps two, because he was low on lives, which loses him a fair few points, but this might be what he needs to do to continue the run according to his resource route after the accidents.
When you're playing A2 and you're on stage 2, you are going to be pretty low on lives. Like, a lot of resources are being dumped on Sunny because of how much scores she gives you. That is also part of the reason why A2 scores by far the highest.
Knife wins for gyou right now. He's doing a cool pattern.
Also, the pattern that Dagoff is on is an extremely tight spell. You need to get like low percentage freezes off here, or like low ice power, low ice charge freezes.
Yeah,
And
otherwise
really
the boss
tight.
takes damage. Otherwise the boss takes too much damage and you can't milk it, so you gotta make them small, but not too small, not too big. The Goldilocks freezes.
This stage portion is also pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the grids that we saw on stage 1 for gyou, but the stage 3 version.
Yeah, these are 4-way instead of 3-way.
That was an accidental, bit of an
Yeah.
accidental crash, but he might
Yeah,
still be fine.
very unfortunate death there.
Here comes a bomb. This is gonna cover a lot.
One interesting thing about the freeze as well is that different bullet types get frozen to differently sized clumps of ice. So jelly beans and fireballs, for example, on the perfect freeze, they make pretty fat clumps, while these tiny bullets make not so fat clumps.
Yeah, that is also why I mentioned that fireball being frozen makes bombs extra effective. Also, the pattern that gyou is on right now is also one that gives a lot of score depending on what Sunny does with her movement RNG.
The bullets are also very random here. But the pattern is actually also... It snapshots its aim at the start of the pattern, so you see he goes to the corner of the boss and then goes directly away from the spot where it was initially aimed to try and manipulate it, but unfortunately dying on that spell is extremely costly, as if you are dead you can't freeze and then you miss a wave and everything is terrible.
Alright, so
Understandable to reset.
The 3 fairies boss fight here is gonna be killing the side fairies here, because they give you frozen items if you kill them with the ice, and also they only shoot lasers, which only hamper your ability to score.
Yeah, seems like he went for he was missing some damage, so he killed it for safety with his shot. And it might have been that Sunny was in a position that made the ice frozen items freeze difficult as well.
So
Indeed, boss movement in this game is very random. It's a 2 in 3 chance of moving towards you, 1 in 3 moving away. And sometimes the bosses can go in a place where they are just not giving you the ideal ice setups.
Yeah, so ideally on this boss fight that Dagoff is doing, he would ideally use 8 suicides, but he can no longer do that. So he's gonna be opting for a 5 suicide route. On this boss fight, you can get around like 80-100% motivation, so you do get a lot. So he does have room for still a few more suicides.
He's getting the freezes on the revenge bullets from the side fairies.
Yeah, you can't really get big freezes here, so he's not gonna be timing this down. This is one of the few spells where you don't time out, but depending on what is... if he's behind on perfect freeze, then he will stall this pattern out just so he can get a little bit of extra perfect freeze. Which
You'll
looks
notice
like
that
is
he's
doing.
damaging the boss with the freezes as well, because getting full damage on the boss with a freeze gives you 9% motivation, which is a lot more than you would get for dealing that damage with the shot. So you
Yeah.
might get half an extra life doing it like this, or something.
Yeah. Even if you're side shooting, damaging bosses with your eyes is still more efficient for gaining motivation.
So the score from the freezes there is trivial, but the motivation and the small amount of perfect freeze it gives can be highly valuable.
I love this non-spell. This non-spell is a really cool safe spot once you get the 2 side fairies out of the way. He's not getting very lucky with the regular freezes here though. They're not really connecting in a favorable way, but it's at least getting the 30%. So what he's gonna do here is set up a safe spot on top of Sunny's head, and then he's just going to be safe. And this actually gives bigger freezes, but if you want to go for the really big ones, the timing is actually extremely tight because of the way the ice connects. And he's also going to use this last freeze here to transition the ice damage to the side fairies on this next spell card right here.
Right, if you look at Star's health bar right now on the left, it's already been chunked halfway through because the ice damage from the previous non-spell was transitioned here.
Yeah, that is completely scripted that he does it that way. Because again, those fairies only shoot lasers.
It makes it much easier to manage the start of this spell when you can kill them faster and get those sweet freezes on their revenge bullets as well.
About how tight is the safe spot?
It's not very tight. There are various amounts of heights that you can beat to be safe. It is a bigger safe spot than it looks.
I never actually did that safe spot or knew about it, so this is unknown territory for me.
Yeah, the height that you are at does actually kind of matter when you're freezing.
Oh no, he missed the frozen items and took a death because the boss died at the wrong time. So
yeah, if
he dies while you're at that position, you kind of get killed. It's unfortunate.
So normally you would actually dump a lot of resources here by using suicides, but he's probably now not going to do that anymore. He might either do like maybe 1 suicide or just none at all, depending on how risky he feels.
This pattern looks like he's doing no suicides, because if he was suicided, you would have suicided by this point. So I'm guessing this is a... Oh no, that is an accidental death. That is one risk you take when you do this pattern without crashing your aircraft. Oh no.
I think he's now in big trouble.
He's in trouble, in more ways than one. But right, although not suiciding may sound like it's safe, you keep your lives. It also means that you don't get the bullet cancels, the iframes, and the ice power that you get from suiciding. So it's quote-unquote safe in the long term, but there are short-term risks, which we saw there. Especially if you don't practice a pattern where you do 0 suicides normally, it can really put you in risky situations that you're not used to.
This is a very nasty pattern when Sunny is alone because you have to dodge these rings. It's really uncomfortable. Because these jelly beans have big hitboxes because they have the circular hitboxes that were introduced in Double Spoiler. So they are actually bigger here. Oh, and he's actually ice grazing it. That is really cool.
Yeah, that went really well.
I've
He
never
should
seen him
be
do
able
that.
to max motivation clear if he no misses from this point on, I believe. Or get very close at least.
Yeah, I mean, even if he misses like less than 100% motivation, actually every unit of a percentage actually counts towards the clear bonus. So it's not like
A lot of points.
So it's not like multiples of 100% are the clear bonus.
Right, I
Having
believe the
some-
math
having
tells us
some
that it's...
Having some
math would
16
tell us-
kbps incidents now.
Yeah, looks like we're having some technical issues, so we can do the math here with our viewers. 1% of motivation on the clear bonus is 40k. So what is 10% of motivation on the clear bonus? Casey, do you know?
400,000.
Bullseye. And now we're back to the action. And they got make it past this non-spell. This is a very tricky one once the jelly bean starts swinging randomly.
And this is also a non-spell. He might still use a bomb on. Here we go. And he will actually need to have maximum PF by the time that he gets to the final spell card, or at least like halfway through it. because he's going to be dumping all of his bombs on the final spell.
Yeah, this fair overdrive is a very cool pattern as well, no pun intended. You want to damage the side fairies with your freezes and do 2 freezes per side. It's in between. Seems like we're having some minor technical difficulties again, so maybe we will back into action, and we're back into action. Seems like the capture is still on the table for Fairy Overdrive for Dagon.
Okay. Those revenge bullets actually turned into fireballs. That is actually happening because of Sunny's aura.
Yeah, but when it's the same aura that turns the regular green bullets into fireballs, that also affects the revenge bullets from the side fairies, which can be quite interesting, to say the least. That is very unfortunate. This might not be a max motivation clear anymore. We'll have to see when it comes to it.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to be getting the clear here. He's at least gonna get a score on the board. So yeah, this is a safe spot that you can just use to get ice power for free, and he's also using this opportunity to do damage to the side fairies, because the side fairies do actually have to go down first.
That is true. And there is also a softlock glitch here where if another fairy dies at the same time as the main fairy, the game will softlock and you won't clear the game. No clear bonus. No nothing. It's basically an instant run killer. So you do not want to see the softlock. You want to follow a pattern that kills both side fairies, 1 freeze before the final fairy.
Alright, here come the bombs. And he's gonna be using 1 freeze to get a little bit more damage off, and here comes the second bomb.
Then the third and final bomb, which will kill the side fairies but not kill the main fairy if everything has gone according to plan. Oh no, one of the side fairies survived. That was dangerous, but he noticed that it was going wrong and he shot it to death. If he froze both of them and killed them with the freeze, he would get the soft lock, so this was
998.
This was a nail biter. It's a score on the board, but he's definitely not happy with the amount of motivation he cleared with.
It's an interesting ending blocker.
Very interesting. Meanwhile, gyou is on the second non-spell of Luna Child Stage 1. And right now Luna is going high up, which is usually good. But the pattern is still very dangerous. Oh no, Luna's coming low. This is very dangerous. He's in trouble. Okay, now he's getting a bit of space again.
I should probably talk about the occasional stream drops. For those who like the voices in our heads decided to telepathically communicate with the entire rest of the world, but didn't reach all of you. So I'll just relay the message again. The voices in our heads are using Wi-Fi, which means that we occasionally have little small 16 kbps incidents. Don't worry about it. It's part of the process.
The eyes got to the router. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Seems like gyou is on a very good stage 1 for his standards. Oh no, accidental death. That is not part of the plan. Definitely not part of the plan.
Having good motivation.
Alright, let's at least hope that he can make it to stage 2 again.
Hopefully he can at least clear so that he will still have time to do another run.
Indeed, we've
already spent almost half of the 70-minute timer, so the clock is ticking.
We're almost halfway through.
In last year's TWC, there was also the same problem where both gyou and Dagon were stuck on the early game, not being able to finish a run. But in the end, they did finish. This is just one of those games where, again, like the early game is really hard right from the get-go. So that is also why, getting out the early game is difficult.
Let's see if gyou can get good freezes on these knife grids. Barely missed the 30%. It's a very tight ice, this one.
There's a nice 30% from Dagon. That 30% is pretty hard to get right before the the Lily Black mid boss here.
Now we've got the Lily
And
Black
there's
on
also
both
another-
streams actually.
Yeah.
And this is... I have been watching some gyou stream on the past few days, and this Lily Black mid boss might be the TLB of A2 for him. It had a lot of reasons, let's just say that. Fireballs are
I can
fast, they're
imagine.
furious.
I can imagine.
And the luck on the final non-spell as well is very considerable.
I guess there's no audio from the stream on the stream side right now. Also, this non-spell that Dagoff is on, you don't actually want to do any damaging freezes, because if you do, the mid-boss will just die instantly because of how little health it has.
Yeah, mid-bosses in this game, Lilies and Dioses have very low hit points on most of their non-spells, so damage control becomes extra restricted.
Yeah, it is
Oh
much
no,
less the case for...
the freeze wasn't quite big enough for gyou to be able to get the survival and ice grace. The TLB is striking. One death so far, I think, on this run, which is... I think it's good enough for him to continue and potentially get a PB.
Alright, the audio's back.
Lily Black is moving into his freezes so far, which is not good, but that freeze was non-damaging, which is essential. If it were damaging, that would be a reset.
Yeah, and the ones that would have been damaging, he was suicided on, so the ice did almost no damage.
The nasty part about this pattern is that suiciding doesn't cancel the ice damage entirely, it just reduces it to perhaps 1/5 or 1/6. And on this pattern the HP is so tight that even the 1/6 from a partially damaging freeze that's cancelled by a suicide can end up taking her over. It's probably one of the most punishing in the game in that manner. You really don't want the ice to touch her.
It seems like he timed that last bomb badly, so he's audibly flustered.
But the knife runs are going very well so far. This is such a cool stage pattern.
Dagoff is getting some good 30% on star here. This is a very random pattern to get the 30% on, and also a very easy pattern to die on.
He's playing it a bit safe by being higher on the screen. If you want to go for maximum size freezes, you can go to the bottom of the screen, but this also can... it can involve small accidents in the workplace.
29.92, that is unlucky. Oh, that's a good one. 40%, that is really good.
He's cooking. I think he hasn't died on this run as well. This is a strong start, definitely. Meanwhile, gyou is also on a run. I don't think he's taken accidental deaths aside from a single one on the mid-boss so far.
He took
But
one towards the end of the stage.
Ah, that is unfortunate. Oh no!
There's another one.
The post-TLB strikes again.
Yeah.
Oh, that means
But
we're
he
back
does
to
still have
Dagoff.
times to... He does still have time, both players have time to finish a run and then do another run. With so the pressure is not yet on full blast.
Yeah.
Please be nice to these players.
Yeah, for
bosses.
reference, a score run of this game lasts about 25 minutes. Differs maybe a little bit depending on the route, but both players have time to do 2 more full runs. And Dagoff looks like is going to go out of stage 1 here. This pattern is not too difficult to survive so long as you do your freezes correctly.
Yeah, if you do them too early, you can end up getting kinda shot in the face as your freeze expires, but Dagoff is a veteran. He's playing them very safe, so his ice lasts a bit longer than the bullets keep spawning.
You can see that if you time your freezes too late, then you will get lower freezes because the bullets stop spawning well before the ice effect ends. At least nobody so far is choosing the wrong route by accident.
What if it's actually the right route? Oh no, Dagoff with a very unfortunate death. the bullets cancelled by the death meant that he couldn't do the freezes he wanted here. So some losses were taken. But since the previous run he had on the boards was not a maximum motivation clear, I think it is rather likely he will aim to clear a run at any cost by this point. As the time is ticking just a little.
Alright, it's preparing for the bomb because it's not shooting or anything. Also, whenever you're using a bomb, you do still gain motivation, but the freeze that is being caused by the bomb does not give you any PF.
The early game has been very rude to both players so far today. The mid bosses are relentless. They're violent, they're bloodthirsty. So far Diose has spared, they got this run, but we will have to see if this keeps up.
And once again he's using his suicide so he can actually milk this pattern more. Like this is one of those patterns where you can't just simply go for non-damaging freezes because those are just worth like almost nothing. And it's also just too risky to go for.
Yeah, the difficulty of dodging this pattern if you're not constantly freezing it and point blank grazing is extreme. I would recommend trying it at home, how nasty that then is if you actually have to dodge it.
Yeah, and that is also why it's not being timed down all the way. This is one of the few patterns where it's just simply not worth doing. Even though, you know, theoretically it would score more to, you know, go for non-damaging freezes. Oh, and he's actually going for the Revenge Bullet freeze there.
Yeah, that is a cool little optimization you can fit in for a bit of extra PF and score.
Yeah, he can do that because he's going to point blank raise those rings anyway. Okay, he mistimed that one a little bit, but at least he recovered. I guess one thing I should also mention, like the reason why he was able to get the extra freeze off is that whenever you kill enemies with your ice, that in itself actually gives you ice power back instantly. It's like around like 5% per enemy that you kill in practice.
Yeah, something along those lines.
So like even if this game didn't have Revenge Bullets, you would still get some ice power back from your freezes that way.
Meanwhile, Gyou-chan on Luna's first non-spell.
Both sides are on Luna, just different stages. I do like how much these runs are being synced, even though it's completely different stages.
It is very
Just
cool.
fate.
Barely got the 30% there on Gyou, very nice. This... Oh no! Luna. Being a rude little
it's getting quite risky to reset by now, isn't it?
Yeah, he basically can't reset anymore if he wants to clear with 2 runs.
And we haven't yet seen stage 3 on Gyou's stream, so the pressure is mounting.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, even though the A2 rubrics right now are quite favorable for Gyou, he's definitely not having the upper hand in this situation.
Yeah, both players continue to be rudely assaulted by local fairies.
98% freeze from Dagoff here on this RNG based but huge score potential spell.
So far it's gone really well, but there's still 30 seconds on the timer. Much could go wrong.
He's gonna use another suicide here.
And the iframes after dying lasts for 4 to 5 seconds or so. It's actually a lot longer than you'd think, so after each suicide, even though there's no visual indicator, the iframes have a very lengthy duration.
98.90.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And yeah, not 45 seconds, 4 to 5 seconds of invincibility after you die.
And it feels almost 45 seconds, but it is not quite that long. Getting some good bombs on these fireballs.
He's not getting quite the ideal regular freezes here. He's not getting those 30%. it is quite risky to like optimize these freezes.
Oh no, this is dangerous. This is very dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think there was a way out of that.
Yeah, Luna kinda surrounded her with her movement. Cerno kinda. She got put in jail. She had nowhere to go.
This is actually also one of those spells that actually is very RNG based with the way that the ice connects. You can get unlucky and just miss a bunch of 30% if the game likes to, or it can just randomly give you 40 to 50% freezes. This is a very variable spell in terms of how much score you get. But if you get larger freezes, you also you can also expect the next freezes to be smaller because the next bullets take longer to reach you. And this is also a very bad spell to die on because you would have to wait for the bullets to arrive at you, which would take a while.
Right, usually having bullets disappear from crashing your aircraft it's usually not good. Meanwhile, gyou on stage 1, Luna non-spell. It's looking good so far. But this is a treacherous little node.
Yeah, same goes for this spell again. The washing machine.
How is he doing this, man? He's waiting so long to freeze. He's been very bold about this. He could have frozen for several seconds already, but he's confident in his ability to keep dodging and delay his freeze for a handful of extra points.
He can definitely afford to, be more ballsy now that he has a score on the board. He might now he will definitely go for higher scores.
Oh
now.
no, this is unfortunate. Getting clipped by those wide breadths of bullets. The fairy buffs, as we call them. You don't want to know what those fairies say for them to start buffing that stuff, let me tell you.
Also getting some of those leftover rings in this bomb here. A little optimization. He also killed the big fairy there by accident.
Meanwhile, gyou's on this second non-spell. Luna's been high up, but the ice power situation is very, very dicey.
Yeah, I could definitely see that he's, not as confident as he was on his past streams on this non-spell. Kind of sitting in the corner.
He got past without dying. This is looking very good so far for gyou. Is this the run? Is it happening?
Please let it be the run.
He's starting out with some non-damaging freezes to milk it until timeout.
Was that an accidental death on Dagon's side?
It was most likely a suicide, as this non-spell uses a handful of suicides.
Alright.
The rule of thumb, like with the difference between suicides and accidental deaths, is that if you see a death happen when there's no ice on screen, then it was accidental.
Yeah, I don't think I saw any ice on screen.
Yeah, then it was not a suicide. That was an accident.
Very unfortunate if so. However, the resource situation looks generous enough for him to be able to max motivation clear.
Yeah. Gyou-chan also getting another chance.
And Dagon is on the really awkward spell again, where you have like a couple of frames to actually get off your ice. Like you have to start damaging Sunny between waves, and then you have like a very small amount of time to actually get the freeze off. And they have to be small freezes, like small duration freezes.
It will also be good if Sunny goes high on screen, like she is going right now, so that you have a bit more space to put your freezes before they start damaging her a lot. And right now Sunny is being highly cooperative.
Yeah, this is looking really good, but he could still die.
Yeah, and the boss is flashing, so she's inches away from death.
That was really close. Very good plays by Dagon there.
Yeah, but really, really scary situation with those residual bullets just now.
Yeah, meanwhile, on gyou, he's on the TLB, the Lily Black. The least trustworthy fairy in Gensokyo. At least in A2.
Ooh, that was kind of an awkward maneuver that Dagon had to do to get around those revenge bullets. But he managed to do it. He's definitely feeling more confident on this run. He's doing good.
Gyou did a safety pattern on Lily Black's first non-spell to kill it with shot instead of going for frozen items, which, yeah, you kind of take less risk by doing that. It's a very understandable choice given the situation. Scary second non-spell right now. Oh! Left some leftover bullets there, but he managed to see them in time.
Very good reading.
So Dagoff is definitely gonna go for the backup route on the 3 fairies again, because ideally he would be on this boss fight, like at this point right now, at 970% motivation. But he's 3 lives behind, so he's gonna go for the 5 suicide pattern instead of the
This is Dagoff's best run so far by far. He hasn't taken a single accidental death before this pattern on Lily Black, so he should be able to do the full set of suicides he intends here.
He's only like just over 1 million behind on the world record actually, but he's definitely not going to be beating the record with this run because his resources are not ideal.
Gyou getting past Lily Black without any major accidents. Slightly bad luck on the final non-spell, but nothing that would prevent him from max motive clearing all by itself.
Depending on what Dagoff is going to do here, he would be doing 3 suicides on this non-spell here.
That bomb fell slightly early on Gyou-chan's side.
And then he's gonna do 1 more suicide on non-3 and 1 non-4. That would be the 5 suicide pattern that Dagoff is probably gonna go for. But he might also choose to skip 1 suicide so he has 1 extra life to play with. So that in case, if he ends up not needing it, then he will suicide on the final spell.
Right. He has a variety of options available to him with these lives. We'll see what he opts to take. For his sake, I hope that he chooses to use suicides on the 3rd non-spell, but there are other options, let's say that.
Yeah, I don't even know if he used any suicides on the first non there. He might have a different plan on in terms of backup route here.
What happened on the previous run, which caused him to not be able to max motivation clear, is he went for a no suicide pattern on the 3rd non-spell of this final boss, and the bullets got him, suffice to say. So we'll see what happens this time. Meanwhile, Gyou is on Sunny Milk as well, taking on the first non-spell, which is fast fireballs, fast bullets, kind of a nasty little thing.
Yeah,
interestingly, this version of the
nasty.
non-spell as well, it has less hit points than the patterns itself seems identical. The HP value is just changed between the routes.
Dagoff killed Sunny's spell items and some motivation there. Not a huge deal, but it could maybe matter depending on what his
Accidental
precise
death for
resources
Gyou
are.
on this spell, but he was able to get the freeze before he died, so it wasn't the maximum degree of loss you could have, although still far from ideal.
Alright, Dagoff is setting up the safe spots Grace again to get these huge, beautiful freezes. 68% is very good. That is very good timing. You can also see like just how easily these freezes break off though if your timing isn't correct. And yeah, here comes the freeze transitioning into Dan.
Seems like we have minor technical difficulties, but so far, Gyou has, I believe, 1 accidental death so far on his run on the previous spell. Now he's taking some motivation spend, crashing his aircraft on these fireballs to milk his pattern for more.
Yep, that was a suicide. This next spell is also gonna be worth a lot of score, even with just the regular freezes. But it's also, I believe, very RG dependent in terms of Sunny's movements, and also where the walls are gonna be spawning.
Right, Gyou is approaching Diamond Ring, the spell that KC was referring to. Right after this non-spell, it's going to be a banger. Here it comes, get ready. So there's these rings, they have openings that are aimed towards you in a random spread around you. So they can be to the center, which is easy, or they can be far away from the center, which is hard. Gyou went for the YOLO cut.
Micros. The micros.
He's doing it the ultra high risk way. Holy shit!
Oh my god, this spread is...
Is this actually possible? Oh no, the luck ran out.
Jesus
But
Christ.
he's putting on a show for us. We should all appreciate this because
Yeah.
this is not a marathon safe pattern. It's not TWC safe. It's not safe for anybody.
I like how he's going to the side even when the pattern is aiming down.
And the thing that makes this so treacherous is that you have to be very fast with going through the rinse in order to be able to graze to get your next ice and get in position. So I think gyou deserves a lot of applause from the boys at home for showing us this recovery attempt, which almost worked.
I feel like that spell is the reason why those particular fireballs actually have smaller hitboxes, because yeah, the yellow fireballs actually have smaller hitboxes than the red ones. I forget if the purple ones have smaller hitboxes or not, but even then, that is just super tight.
Yeah, it's so tight, and the time pressure is so extreme, since you have to be able to do the next freeze in time as well to benefit from doing those backup dodges. And this final spell on Sunny is more simple, hopefully. The bomb was slightly mistimed, but it's not so big a loss. Let's see gyou split entering stage 3. I believe on his stream he had a goal of having 39 million points starting stage 3.
Yeah, that was his
It's
target.
37, so it's a bit behind, but not drastically so.
Yeah, I mean, most of your score actually comes from the final stage anyway. I guess that's also worth mentioning that even though his PB right there says 106 million, his actual PB is of 115 million that he achieved in April 2021.
Right. And more importantly, his motivation situation is very good. Having 420% blaze it at this point it's cooking. Usually you spend tons of motivation, nearly all of it, in A2 on stage 2, so he has gotten here with a lot of lives in stock and has the best chances he could possibly have for max motivation clearing.
He even got a 420% freeze.
All up to him now.
Meanwhile, Dagoff is on the penultimate spell of the game, Fairy Overdrive. Sunny version.
He's bought 2 extra lives here in stock for safety. You could have high 700% at this point and max motive clear, but he has capped out at 1000%, so he has room for 2 deaths at this point. If accidents were to happen, to ensure that he max motivation clears.
Star's non-spell is really cool here, because you can use a regular freeze and then use a bomb immediately, and both freezes give like around like 60 to 70% freezes, which...
Yeah, this is an incredibly cool pattern. It's got a lot of uses for both crashing your aircraft and for using bombs and regular freezes. It's got it all.
It's kind of funny to just see like 2 freezes simultaneously, pretty much, but yet they are cumulatively more than 100% ice coverage.
The fireballs here really give you a ton of value for the bomb, since they are not cancelled by the regular freeze. Seems like he skipped some of the suicides on that, so he didn't go for the maximum milk. He's aiming to keep his resources to give him the maximum chances of a maximum motivation clear.
Speaking of which,
Yoch managing to cap the mid-boss spell of Stars of Fire Stage 3. He's well set on motivation. It's gonna be very close. It might be missing a handful of percent, because there's still a couple of freezes here. Yeah, we can definitely see a bit of rust on our Frenchman here, but he can still get he's missing 40% or so. Let's see how much he's actually missing.
Very nice
Looks
improvement.
like he was missing about 1.5 million from the clear bonus, so he got. Yeah, it's a very respectable score. Very unfortunate that he took an unintentional death at the end, but it's a score on the board that he's definitely much happier with than his previous one. A big improvement. Meanwhile, gyou he's got room for at least 4 deaths or suicide total, possibly 5 depending on his routes. He's really committed to bringing these lives, skipping some of the crashing on the mid boss non-spell, as well as on Sunny to ensure that his odds are as good as they could be. Do we have any weeps in the chat to translate what he's talking about?
He says according to Crested he's asking Crested to update the target score.
Ah, so that's it.
Yeah, he seems to be very competitive this year.
Yeah, although it must be noted that A2 is also probably the most optimized category, but even not accounting for that, it simply scores more. A lot more.
Yeah,
there's just all the points in A2, tons of patterns that can be milked for very large freezes, and almost nothing that can't. And they're also very fun. Yeah. Yeah, there's still a... There is a scoring trick here you might go for, which is going for frozen items by destroying the main fairy star with an ice, but we don't know if he's going for that. It requires a somewhat complex setup, which he might be going for. We'll have to see.
Let's find out.
Yeah, he's got plenty of room for crashing. This is the first spell.
Okay, this is looking a bit precarious, maybe. All right, he's managing.
But I think he wanted to attempt the frozen items, but it didn't quite go the way he wanted.
Okay,
anyway,
well,
this non-spell is where you're going to use the bombs, so he's not going to be capped for long.
Yeah, he made a bit of a mistake getting into the.
This non-spell is a really cool pattern where you can skirt race these side fairies for the rinse, and then do some shooting to charge your ice. And then if you freeze at the right time, the freeze won't deal full damage to the main fairy, which lets you do some extra milking at the end. Although this,
that is even true when both side fairies are dead.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, the damage management has been weird. It shouldn't happen that the fairies are done at different times. But the motivation situation is excellent.
So these, I don't know if you even mentioned this, but the lasers actually shatter the ice, and more specifically the buzzsaw part of the laser. And these can fire off these small yellow bullets.
That is a painful death. However, he does still have motivation in stock for the upcoming non-spells. So he's not dead yet. Going for some milking on this spell right here. Oh no, this ice was not quite timed to not hit the lasers.
Yeah, you need to time your eyes in a specific way so you don't really get those piss bullets.
As we call
they
them.
are also very hard to see through the ice, and once lasers shatter ice and turn the eyes into pellet bullets, they are actually invulnerable to being frozen for like a second. So you have to deal with them while they are being obscured by your eyes. That's like one of the more
His
annoying...
third non-spell that Gios is on has tremendous scoring potential, but also tremendous risk. He's going to want to skirt Grey Star here, get his eyes up, then do a freeze, and then go through all this crap here to attempt it again, or bomb. It's quite risky, and he's doing it without crashing his aircraft, which is
yeah,
the
he's playing
riskiest
this.
way.
He's playing this really safe, even though his resources right now are actually looking quite good.
Nah, this is the dangerous way, trust me, bro. Anyway, this next spell. This one is not so dangerous in terms of survival, but the scoring potential can get very high.
The cheerleader spell.
いやーこれ潰してもよかったかも
This is also a very cool pattern.
これ潰してもよかったかも
This is also what you would do on survival by grazing Luna's
is,
bullets from the side.
パーフェクトだった
Right.
He seems to be debating on whether he should suicide or
こ
not,
だわりすぎた
or whether he should have.
Well, my unsolicited opinion would be that the time to suicide was on the previous non-spell, both for score and
Yeah.
for safety. But he's actually having an incredible performance right now. Let's not lie. The third non-spell, doing it without crashing in the pattern he did, is extremely
これ
difficult.
聞こえてんのかな
I mean, if I was doing a run like this, I would be using 2 or 3 motivation spends on that, just to lower the risk by using the iframes and all the other good stuff you get from dying. But he did it with 0 suicides and managed to notice it, which is the risks are very high.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that the gyou is not like using the full potential of what suicide can bring. But I think also for this TWC especially, he's he really needs to get a score on the board right now.
Yeah,
And
you see
actually-
he's on 900% and there's still about 300% of motivation left to gain in the route, so there is room for error if somewhere to occur.
I wonder if he actually
Yeah.
is gonna have enough time to do another run. I wonder if it's actually better for him to speed kill some of this so he can actually get a new run in.
あなんでそっち
That's an okay suicide. It might have been unintentional, but the timing was good enough that it didn't cancel any of the waves on the next cycle. This ice was not it.
There's
The
also
ice
ice
grazes
grazing
on
the
these
ring.
purple rings as well are they are incredibly cool. This is one of these patterns that you love to see.
Yeah, this not
They're
build
very
looks kind
exciting.
of the same, but it's actually not quite. It is different enough to where it is actually more risky to score on.
Then we've got Fairy Overdrive. The difference between Star Fairy Overdrive and Sunny Fairy Overdrive is that they go in different fixed movement patterns. Sunny goes in kind of a diamond shape around the screen, but Star goes in this slightly more complex one with more stops.
Yeah, so the lead fairy actually determines the behavior of the final 2 spells in the game.
Yeah, they have the same names and
や
everything,
すいか
but
もこれ
the movement
Scary
patterns and
fireballs
some
there.
minor differences are present.
So long as he's prepared for free fairies here, he is definitely gonna get a full motivation clear here.
That's what we said when we saw Dagot in this situation, but the Frenchman, I can tell you that there were minor accidents. Well, let's not count our horses before they run.
Yeah, I mean, it is a spell that is, like, once you know how to do the routes, it is not difficult, but...
very difficult. He missed the eye. And now we are seeing some technical difficulties while we listen for the audio to hear if anybody's taking deaths. It
Yeah,
didn't seem
it
like
seems
anybody
like-
died while... Doesn't seem like anybody
Yeah.
died while we had technical difficulties. Yeah, looks
Yeah,
like
it
we are
seems
still on the
like,
900% motivation on Geo's side, so if he nails the 3 fairies final spell, he's locked in for
It seems like ice keeps entering the router, and in an attempt to warm it up, they're accidentally using too much fire.
He is looking at 105, 106 mil potential here.
Yeah, but he's gotta nail the final spell.
Yep.
Although
yeah,
it may
that's
look
the potential.
it may look free, but especially in a marathon setting like this, there are ways things can go very well.
Okay, it looks like things are going well. Now he just needs to dodge the final bits before the bombs.
There's
Beautiful.
one.
and he takes the freeze to...
Here comes the timeout
phase.
phase. Or like the rage phase.
And he's got the final bomb. He should be good to clear now. It's just the final revenge bullets to dodge.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Fantastic. He's
Very
got
well
the clear
done.
in the bag.
Very good job by gyou, and he has 40 seconds to do another run if he can manage to reset in time. He actually PB'd.
116, damn.
That is actually a new PB for him. That was
I
116.
believe it is a new PB.
I miscalculated.
That
It
was a
not
fantastic
106.
performance, to be honest. This,
He hit the target score too.
he hit the target score. He captured the third non-speller with his no suicide pattern. I think he would be very happy with the way he's performed today after that run.
But now the question is he going to start a new run before the time is up?
I think he's waiting to see how many TWC points he got, and he takes the lead. gyou is cooking.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
got the
he's going
59.
for it.
He's got the
He's
59.
going for it.
2 seconds left. What a timing.
Victory lap, let's go.
Things are heating the fuck up.
And gyou is actually ahead on TWC points right now. This is the comeback of the ages.
They are indeed heating up.
Dagoff
Pressure
is
is on
actually...
Dagoff now.
Yeah, he's actually gonna have to perform now.
It says on the overlay that his target is right about 108 million.0, which is that's a high score. You're not gonna get that
Indeed.
on a half-assed run.
Yes, so again, gyou's actual PB is 115 million from 2021. That was not displayed on his high score right there, but he actually got a new PB.
Yeah, and I have to emphasize that the performance and execution it was there. This is not the kind of play we saw him on stream the last few days, for example. He nailed it. He's killing it. He's owning. He's gaming. He's an inspiration to us all here at TWC. You love to see it.
As
Love
we
to
was
see it,
expect to see
indeed.
to the Great Fair War themed TWC. It is a sign. We can probably expect great things during the Gold Medal Wars as well.
Yeah,
That is coming later.
Those are a very spicy one, with completely different players as well. It's going to be extremely spicy. Meanwhile, they got on the luck spell.
The spell with the highest freezes in the game, giving him some delicious slowdown.
Yeah, that is actually a funny part of the game where most of the time the ices do not slow down the game, but on these handful of spells, like some variants of the final spell and this spell, you can actually get slowdown even on a good PC just from the game choking from all the freezes. That is an unintentional death, I believe. And he's on 44% motivation, that is definitely unintentional. This is getting spicy for Dagoth. Even if he gets past these non-spells, the scoring potential is going to be somewhat compromised by the motivation situation, but I do believe that he... No, wait. We shouldn't call it till it's over. Final spell for Dagoth. Getting good luck so far, I feel like. The ice is spreading nice. And we did talk about it at the start, but a 30% freeze gives 20% perfect freeze or bomb, while a 29% or lower gets up to 10%. So if they spread good, they give a 30%, you're going to be much happier here. And so far the 30% have been showing up quite nicely.
Yeah. One small thing that is actually also like part of the ice mechanic here is that whenever you freeze bullets, there's like a small amount of cancel items that spawn. Those give a very tiny amount of motivation too. So whenever you see a freeze damaging the boss, for example, and it gives you 9%, motivation and then like 1% motivation after that. That's because of the
And
cancel items.
they got this Onin on this Jelly Bean spell, the washing machine. This is... He gets a
washing.
capture. Luna is washed up. And now gyou is also going to wash Luna up.
He is 4 lives behind though, so it's still not ideal for him.
Luna kind of low on the screen for gyou. This is a bit dangerous. She's coming down again. Didn't saw looking rough. And she's staying down. Oh no, this is risky. The less space she gives you, the less time you have to charge your eyes, more close the bullets are, so you're more danger. It's trouble start happening very quickly if she doesn't go up.
Also, yeah,
troubles did happen.
The cancel items give 10 points. Definitely more significant in a game like this, where the score numbers aren't as high. This is one of the lowest scoring games in the series, in fact, in terms of the raw numbers.
Yeah, it is.
Just below 1 Oko.
There is
just
a
above 1 Oko.
hypothesis that Sun actually didn't get all the things he normally puts into the games in the Fairy Wars due to, you know, time constraints, having to get it in time for his schedule.
By the way,
so it doesn't have a complex scoring system with PIV and things like that, or some of the, you know, or the spicy things that Sun games often have, which makes for this kind of interesting dynamic where freezes give you score, but there's no big change or PIVs that would destroy a run on a death, for example.
This non-spell that Bake Off is on is actually kind of funny. There's dialogue before it, but you actually have to skip the dialogue immediately because Zoom, for some reason, allowed the non-spell timer to actually advance during the dialogue, so we actually have to skip it immediately.
That is a very funny feature that Sun added into the game, yes.
Yeah, it only happens with the Sunny mid-boss here on stage 3. The Star and Luna versions don't have that behavior.
They got getting the last freeze, not getting hit by some random yellow bullets. And now he's going for the Goldilocks freezes again on this mid-boss spell. Sun is being a bit low on the screen right now, which definitely makes this more difficult. Yeah, Sunny is about as low in her box as she can be.
Yeah,
I would like to see her near the ceiling. Oh no, that is an accidental death. Highly costly.
Yeah, he's already behind on life, so that's not good.
And what also happens when you die on this spell is that you have 100 ice power when you revive, so the next ice you do will deal full damage after you die, which could make your damage control very tricky.
Yeah, on this spell in particular, that's not something you don't want. You want to get the really short freezes.
Yeah, short freezes with minimal damage, and if you're railroaded into doing full damage by a death, then it could be costing you a freeze or two near the end, since she took extra damage that she otherwise wouldn't take. But we are still on a run, and the motivation situation has improved from how dire it was on stage 2. This might get close.
Meanwhile, how is Gyo-chan's motivation situation right now?
It looks a bit dire, I'm not gonna lie. He's not having the great early game he had on his big PB run. He's having to compromise here by skipping a suicide and missing out on 2 big freezes.
Those fireball dodges are really scary because, yeah, those fireballs actually have bigger hitboxes than the yellow ones.
They are both scary, and having to do them means that you're skipping out on the opportunity to do larger freezes while crashing Sono on some fireballs. So it's both difficult and you don't score as much, but if you don't have the motivation, then you don't have a choice. You need to make a compromise somewhere. The knife rim pattern did not go as planned for gyou. He had to improvise to recover, and he didn't quite get the perfect ices, but he also didn't take a death, which is impressive, because that was very scary.
Dagoff is reaching the end of the game here on the 3 fairies, so we're gonna see what's gonna happen here.
Yeah, looks like he's gearing up for the frozen bullets. Sunny is coming up close, so this should be the frozen items in the back.
Yep, there we go. Home. And now a bomb. And he's one thing we should also mention, whenever he's using a bomb, he is doing it. He went to the top right there, and the reason for that is because deleting bullets from the top those bullets go off screen, so they would not be included in the bomb. So, like, in general, whenever you're using a bomb, you do want to try to graze a bunch of bullets, but you preferably graze bullets that go off screen, so that you don't have to worry about score loss from that, from the freezes that you get out of it.
Yeah, since while you have iframes, when you touch bullets, the bullets just vanish, and bullets that vanish are not bullets that get frozen at your eyes area, so...
That is actually
you don't want to be sweeping stuff like an eraser.
That's actually half true, because bullets that are in the process of being deleted can actually still get frozen.
Yeah, there's like animation. There's kind of a fade out for bullets as they die, whether from a boss being killed or being swept by an eraser, where they can still be frozen, yes, but usually, in general, we can say that we don't want to be erasing the stuff we freeze.
Yeah, and that does come into play in the last pattern of Lily Black on C2, or just C-Route in general, where the final freeze is actually being done right as the non-spill times out, and Lily Black runs away. You can actually get a pretty big freeze there if you do it at the top, and like even when bullets are being deleted, you still get some of those bullets into your freeze.
Yeah, it actually looks kind of cool. And I think we probably saw that on Gyou's big run where he got to do his full suicide and bomb pattern on Lily Black, but that wasn't on this run where he had to compromise. They got on the cool second non-spell of the C2 round, setting up the freezes.
Yeah, it's still not getting the great regular freezes there. Like it is a bit well luck-based with how it expands, but also the positioning matters.
Right.
That's a very nice 63%. Very good. The timing for getting these good freezes is very tight.
He's nailing them. You can see how it expands to the bottom. You can see how the long tail of the freeze expands to the bottom. That tends to be a solid indicator for if you land in the goat timing.
That was an extremely good execution on those freezes. It looks easy, but getting the right timing on those freezes is actually very hard. You have very tight timing on getting these.
That is something about freezes that you don't really realize as a viewer, that the precise position and timing of the freezes on nearly all freezes in the game has tremendous impact on the size of the freezes. You know, sometimes
your chun is on yellow rings again, by the way.
Oh yeah, he's
Diamond
so
ring.
far getting. He's
really
getting
good luck.
Kind of better luck so far. He hasn't had to go to the bottom for some YOLO dodges. Oh no, this is... He went from an earlier freeze there to be able to go through, which it cuts your points a little, but the safety may be worth it given his motivation situation.
That is actually also one of the spells where it is actually worth timing it out for the extra big freeze that you get, even while bullets are being deleted.
Right. Anyway, to finish my rant about freeze micro timing and micro positioning, it makes a tremendous difference on really most freezes in the game. Not just specific setups like the safe spot on Sunny's second non-spell. There are both big and small gains to be made throughout the game for just doing it slightly more favorably relative to the bullets, catching a bit fewer or a bit more in the initial ice block that Cernal is behind. Can really speed up the spread of the ice and give you better results.
Yeah,
just a couple of frames later, a couple of pixels deeper.
Yeah, it is very, and also the RNG of the bullets themselves also plays a part in how well ice connects and stuff. Like, there's just a lot of, physics going on in how these freezes go off.
Right. Seems like they got skipped some of the possible suicides on this third non-spell. Maybe he is confident that he can beat his 106 without doing extra suicides. It will be close.
I don't know if Gyou is gonna be on PB pace for this run. Because it will probably be difficult for him to improve this further.
Yeah, he's entering stage 3 with 200% less motivation than he did previous run, and with about 1 million less points, so on both metrics he's looking rough. But scoring potential technically still exists.
Oh, that was a very bad death. That was painful.
Yeah, missing the cap, missing the ice, very, very expensive.
At least the motivation situation is not that bad right now. He can
Yeah,
definitely
he's still
afford.
Yeah, there's room for at least one crash.
Yeah.
Crash is my new word for suicide, by the way. It sounds very funny, and it's also one syllable. So if you're a bit of a lazy ass, here's a pro tip: call your suicides crashing. You can thank me for that one later. Anyway, there you go.
29%.
On the swing in jelly beans.
Fun fact: the Japanese word for suicide, which is tsubushi, actually directly translates to a crush.
Yeah, that also sounds very funny, but I personally like, the imagery of crashing your aircraft with no survivors. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. It is.
Okay, back to the serious business. They got
Looks like
entering
he's not
Fairy
gonna use
Overdrive.
any.
Yeah, he's skipping the suicides and he's entering
Yeah.
Fairy Overdrive. We'll see if he's able to get the frozen items from the side fairies and get the cap. Since if you do kill the side fairies here with ice, you do get like 100,000 items per side fairy or so. It's a fair amount.
Depending on what his perfect freeze is gonna be at when free fairies start, he might choose the suicide at the start of the spell.
Gyou-chan deciding to forfeit this credit. However, he still put up a good fight, got a really good run in there, and really gave Dagoth a somewhat a run for his money.
Yeah, he did very well.
We'll see if Dagoth is able to. I think Dagoth has a chance to improve his TWC score by a fair amount on this run.
Yeah, it all comes down to this run.
He definitely wants to get the cap and the items if he can. He got the cap, he got the items. I think he might be on pace for 108.
There's a suicide for the extra PF. Just to make sure that he actually has the PF to actually pull off the bombs here. But I think he might have actually been fine, maybe. But he was gonna cap on motivation anyway. He's about to cap right here again. So like, even though you're doing full damage to 3 fairies simultaneously, you are capped at 9% motivation gained. It's not like you gain 27% or something.
We have the match crew on board, and I think the match crew has told us in our earpieces that Dagoth, if he nails this 3 fairy spell, he might be able to win the match with a comeback.
Well, let's see what happens here. It all comes down to these bombs.
That's one.
That is a bit of an unlucky bomb, but not a big deal.
Second bomb.
Also 93%.
Let's
And
see
here
if he
comes
can
the
get
final
the...
freeze.
He
Just
got
have
the
to get this
frozen items
final
on the
one,
side fairies.
and there we go.
That
is-
looks like a 108 to me.
Yeah, that is 108. Very good. That might actually
Very
give him the
nice.
win.
It might just barely get him over. It says on the target at least that 108 might be enough. We'll have to wait for the math team to input our numbers into the system.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
the
machine
moment of
to make a
truth.
judgment.
That is still very good. That is about 1 million away from the world record.
Yeah, solid run.
108.3.
Very rough early game, but he was able to get it together in the end game. 62
results are in.
TWC points for Dagoth. He
Very
takes the
good.
win! France with the comeback! We are gaming.
We
Very
are
close
indeed
match.
gaming. Very nice run. Very nice run from both of these players.
That was
Down to the
very
wire.
close. That was definitely one of the closest matches we've seen so far.
An excellent performance from Gyou on his PB run. Very, very fantastic execution for what he was going for. I think, even though he wasn't able to take the win in the end, I think he exceeded my expectations. And I'm not sure about you guys. What do you guys think?
Yeah. He definitely exceeded my expectations also. Gyou-chan is a very good player, but so like I expected him to get a good run in, but to be this close to Dagoth, that is a whole new level for me that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, on his preparation streams, things weren't actually looking that great. He was struggling very hard, but the TWC magic did his work here. It gave him the best possible scenario, I would say, and also letting him, be 1000% motivated.
Indeed.
Fantastic performances from both players today, and both getting one 1000% motivation clearing within the 70 minutes, which it's not that long, even though the game is short.
Yeah, definitely. So, formality's sake, second place, Gyou-chan, 59.4 TWC score with 116.39 million on A2, and first place, really close match. But Dagoth won it, 62.49 TWC score with 108.3 million on C2. Those are our results for today's match. Very exciting, very close.
Yeah, fantastic
well played
performance from both players, really. Close to his PB for Dagoth, a significant PB for Gyou. Just incredible stuff.
Yeah, and Gil can definitely be proud because he also beat his PB. Indeed.
Yep. Shoutouts to Asebi with this actually really fucking funny art piece.
Yeah, this is a masterpiece if I ever saw one. Put it in the Blu-ray. Plan it alongside Dagoth's run.
Definitely. So, we have one more match today, which is in how long? About 3.5 hours. Let's see if we can't get a visual on it.
Gonna be EOSD, right?
Don't spoil it. but yeah, it's EOST.
How do you pronounce EOST? Is it EOST? EOST? EOSTO? Isodo?
Benny. Alright, so USD Lunatic scoring, featuring Kana_TH6 versus Gobo, two legendary players. Gobo, overall world record holder, and Kana, of course, being one of only two Westoids with over 700 mil in this game. Two legendary players. Also, everyone loves Kana, right? You know you gotta support him.
We support him, but we also have one final math problem for the people at home. How many hours from now is it until this match starts of Embodiment of Scarlet Devil?
It's an extra challenging question, seeing as most shatters today are Europors, so they have to compensate for the time zone.
Seems like Chad is confident that this is actually 3.5 hours from now.
Indeed it is, because for my local time it's at 15, which means I get to rest a little bit, rest my vocal cords,
You get to take
drink
a
some
nice
water.
little nap. Dream about
Resting your cords of
these
steel.
fantastic little Christmas trees from stage 3. The highlight of
Yeah,
EOSD.
yeah.
But will there be Christmas tree shot types this time?
We'll just have to find
Excellent
out.
question.
We'll just have to find out.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed, so am I. EOSD tends to be quite a treat to watch. So, definitely try to catch this match. Now, do you two have any final remarks on the match, or this upcoming one, or, the day in general?
I mean, as far as the match that we just watched is concerned, I'm very happy with how it turned out. It was a close match, and both players definitely exceeded my expectations, especially gyou. So I'm very happy with how things turned out. So I hope also that other matches coming forward are gonna be just as exciting.
Yeah. I think I expressed my opinion about how hyped this match was already, but it is very great to see both players able to get a 1000 motivation % clear, performing most of their strategies to some extent. It's the ideal outcome.
Indeed, it is. So that is gonna be it for us. We'll come back to you with EOSD in just over 3 hours. Sit tight.
Hopefully the Wi-Fi will thaw in time.
Yeah. But in the meantime, as we said, you know, get some nice blood circulation. Maybe take a nap if that's what you're into. Go outside, enjoy the sun, all that stuff. And we'll
Sunny.
be yeah. maybe even the moon and the stars if you're from Japan and watching this stream for some reason. Although I wouldn't think it's very dark outside in Japan by now, but who knows? Either way,
Well,
we'll be...
even if the stars aren't visible, they're always there in your heart, bro.
Oh yeah. They sure are. Either way, we'll be right back to you with more very exciting gameplay.
Well, I'm gonna peace out. See you guys.